Hi guys, I am ready to give up. This is like my 15th time, I think, to do this. Anyway, I'm going to do a review on a show called Queen of the South. I'm going to do the review for the season 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's very, very different. Each one is different, and I feel like I'm going out of my mind because I probably should have sliced this up and did one season at a time, as I usually did. But for whatever reason, I decided to not do that right now. Anyway, I hope you're going to enjoy my video. You're going to hit the like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and of course the bell so you're notified every single time I do upload a new video. So on imdb.com, it says this is rated 7.9 out of 10 stars. Action, crime, drama, 4 seasons so far. I'm really hoping that there is like a ton more seasons coming, like maybe season 10 or whatever. But I cannot wait for season 5. So I'm going to talk about first season. First season, it gives you a look of what Teresa was used to, what how she and Weddle have met, and how he pretty much plucked her and rescued her and was her hero. They get involved, they're romantically involved, they're together, and all of a sudden, you know, where it's gone, and she has to survive, which she kind of had to do that in the streets of Kulikan, being very poor. But this is a different extent of survival. Like before it was just surviving and making sure like she was safe and not being attacked, and make sure she had food in a sense, like that kind of situation. In this situation, it's like someone is literally coming after her as a target to kill her. So that puts into play there. It quickly evolves into being taken into the other side of what Weddle's life, and what the business side of where Weddle was working in. The other side of it, which is human trafficking and drug mules and things like that. Season 1, I'm just gonna say it like without pretending I didn't see season 2, 3, and 4 yet. Season 1 for me was like, oh, this is a pretty good show. You know, it's a really good show. Coming in the, like, I would say like episode 3, 4, like somewhere there, you get to know a lot more about James and who he is as a person, and you get to see how Teresa is, how loyal she is, and just she has her own principles and things like that. And even in the midst of this situation where James is really like one of her captors, she still saves him. So that really does show something about Teresa's character, on who she is. And it does, you kind of see a little bit more of James, that he really isn't just a sociopath. he actually still is slightly a person. I'm not gonna say more of the spoiler, but towards the end of the first season, I literally gasped. I jumped on my seat. I literally did this to myself, and I'm like, oh my god. And I might have screamed a little bit, just a little bit. That is very rare for me to do, but I don't know what it is with this show. It's just like puts me in a loop. Like when you feel, you know how like you're spinning, and then you feel like everything is flat again, and all of a sudden, like you're spun, like not voluntarily. That's how it felt like for me. So season 1, I would give it a 2 thumbs up. I would give it, let's see. I usually do shows like 5 stars would be the max, but I'm gonna do 10. So with season 1, I would say it is a 8 out of 10 stars. I completely enjoyed it, especially like I think like it really does accelerate at like episode 3 or 4. I think it was 3. I think so. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm gonna be really, really quick. And season 2, spoiler alert, Güero comes back into play much, much more. Teresa finds out that Güero has been alive the whole time while she was fighting to survive, almost died, have been in a certain situation that no person, not just a woman, but no person would ever want to be a part of. I'm not even going to do that, spoiler. But anyway, so that happens. And you get to see a lot more of, I guess, because at the end of season 1, you get to see how Pote really evolves through that first season from someone who was after her and, like, you know, being the sicario of Epifanio, goes into being rescued by Teresa, in a sense that he does owe her his life, because if she didn't, spoiler, if she didn't take him, he would have been dead or killed or murdered. So season 2 is definitely more of like you see a lot more of who Pote is behind the scenes, how he is very passionate about food and cooking, how he is loyal to Teresa, and he is now a part of Camila's cartel. So that is put into play, and Pote somewhat evolves from, like, he is very suspicious of Teresa, and with good reason. And he figures out, like, you know, what's going on at some point. It's all because of Güero. And she does explain to Pote what's going on. And so that's season 2. Season 2, you get really of more of a love triangle, but to me it was like really a question mark with Teresa, Güero, and James, because James is a very stoic kind of like brick wall kind of guy, and Güero is just a complete opposite. I mean, they have history, and he is still very much in love with Teresa, regardless of what he did in season 1, which is really, really disturbing. Very manipulative, very disturbing, and very, very selfish. And he is actually being called out on it by James. It does show how Teresa, I would say, has certain undeniable, like, subconscious feelings toward the person. I'm not even gonna spoil that for anybody right now. So season 2 really was a very, like an elevation from season 1 for me. And that was the beginning for me, beginning of the end, essentially, because I cannot watch anything else anymore. So for me, it was like, I don't blink. I can't blink. I can't afford to blink. If I do, I have to rewind the show because I feel like I'm missing something, and I think I did. It's very fast paced. It's very exhilarating. So season 2, at the end of it, is a big question mark yet again. Things happen between James and Camila. Pote and Teresa, things happen there too, as well as Güero. So there's just a huge question mark there. I would also like to do a shout out for King George, which he is just like a treat that I just can't get enough. He is just amazing. So I love his character. So come on season 2, I would give it it's very, very delicious for me. So I would give it like a 9. Or I would give it like either an 8.5. I would just say 9 out of 10 stars and a 2 thumbs up. It's very, very just wow. This is really when I'm not gonna blink anymore. I'm just not gonna blink. So coming on season 3, you start off with Teresa being in Malta with Pote, and Güero is not in sight. So we don't know what happened to Güero. The first episode of season 3 was just like, whoa. It was kind of like it was kind of strange because it felt like it was one of those, this is a very secure drive, and all of a sudden there's an earthquake, there's a hurricane, and there's a volcano, there's a volcanic eruption all at the same time. That's how it felt like for me. And spoiler alert, James is back in season 3. And Teresa and Cote are kind of questioning about where his loyalties lie. So that is put into play in the very, very beginning of, majority of this particular season. And this is the season actually that I fall in love with Cote, which he becomes a person for me. In the first couple of episodes, just what he endured for Teresa, and then when James and Teresa finds him, he just like bawls and just, you know, holds on to her for dear life. And you can tell that he was like really holding on to a thread for his life. And he was so hurt that it really was very touching. And I literally cried when that happened, because you have to imagine, when I was watching him from the beginning of the show, he was like this, it felt like he was just an emotionless like robot, you know, like a sicario, like it just doesn't care. And I see him in this way, so open, so vulnerable, so human, and my heart just went to him, and I'm like, oh my God. So that was really amazing. I have to say right now that season 3 is definitely my favorite out of the 4. And I think it's because the relationships and the characters have really, like, I have a picture and I have a box for them and be like, that's Pote, that's James, that's Teresa. And season 3 pretty much just ripped that apart. It felt like there was a bully that went in my personal space, took all the boxes, ripped them in front of me, and just threw it on my face and said like, bye. It was literally like that. Like, I just didn't know where my heart could be. What I was thinking and imagining, oh, this is what's gonna happen. Like, it just quickly evolves so fast that it was a painful but delicious twist to everything. I'm really, really on the fence if I should do the spoiler alert, but spoiler alert, James and Teresa pretty much show how they do feel for each other. Did I expect that? No. Was I waiting for it? Yes. Well, I've been waiting for it since season 2, I would think, because that's when I kind of really noticed how there could be a possibility, but I wasn't really sure. So that happened, and dun dun dun, Widow comes back in the picture and pretty much just like throws a wrench in that. I was really upset when that happened. I'm like, seriously, this is gonna happen? And of course he redeems himself as, like, you can't, to me, what he did in the past was terrible. It really was, but he redeemed himself so beautifully that I cried. Like, I don't know what it is in season 3, like bawling, crying, just, oh my gosh, it really, like, emotional roller coaster. I was gasping, screaming, shrieking, which that's very, very unusual for me. So that happened, and I'm not even gonna say anymore, but after that there is a situation, and there's a little bit of mystery and wonder of what's going on. And at the end of season 3, James leaves. And I would really say that aside from James leaving Teresa, I really love the season 3. Like, I can't get enough of it. I would say if that last scene is gone with James, I would give it a 10 out of 10. But even with it, it'd be like a 9.9 out of 10 stars. Like, I love this season. And to me, it's just because their 3 characters really has, like, it shows you their interpersonal relationships with all three of them, like Teresa and James, Teresa and Pote, James and Pote, things like that. And there's just so much human in them, especially with Pote and James, versus the other, the previous seasons, that it just, I think that's the part that really draws me in more, because you get to be more attached, because you get to know them more. So that was that. So I give it a 2 thumbs up, like I said, and like a 9.9 out of 10 stars. So now I'm gonna do the last season. So the 4th season, I wouldn't say last, but latest. The 4th season, you get to have, well, James isn't there anymore, and before, I almost forgot, there's Javier, which is from season 3, like at the end of it. And I guess for season 4, he's kind of a replacement for James, because James is leaving, and Javier is there, and Javier is phenomenal in like season 3. I thought he was just funny. But I love like a dark humor though. I love dark humor, so I thought he was just really great. And then season 4, I gotta say, like season 4, I feel like, because I miss James so much, and I miss like Teresa and James together, and James and Pote, that season 4 for me is amazing. It's still amazing, but it really kind of had a step back for me because James wasn't there. So that really was kind of a hurdle for me. It does show the redemption of it is that Teresa is just, oh my God, she is like the boss, like the boss. She's just like exhilarating to watch. She is just so intense and just incredibly strong, and just it's just enchanting to watch Alicia Braga play this character. It's just beautiful. And Pote, oh my gosh. In season 3, Pote says something. He says something like, it's not verbatim, but he says something like, I might not be able to shoot as well as I did, but I'll take a bullet for you. And he had tears in his eyes, and I had tears in my eyes, like, oh my gosh, Pote, can you just be more and more delicious as you just, oh gosh, like I literally sighed when he said that. And of course I cried when he said that. It's just, oh my gosh, it really does pull on my heartstrings. So season 3 too, there's this episode in which the scene with Pote and Teresa, well, Pote really was hurt because he kind of figured out that Teresa and James are having a relationship, and he didn't know anything about it. Even though in the beginning of the season, Teresa does tell him, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and we're gonna be, we're just gonna be like together no matter what. And so she asks him, what do you think of James, truthfully? And oh my gosh, Hemke, I swear to God, he's amazing to watch. And so Pote just says, he will die for you. And that just like, hamana, like that, that's why season 3 for me was like the best and the most delicious out of all of the seasons. And come season 4, a lot is going on. There's some new characters and some new issues and things like that. It's still really exhilarating, and it's very, very fun to watch. But the whole season, I was just like, where's James? You see a little bit of Güero here and there, and towards the end of the season, you do see glimpses of James. And it turns out James is back at the end of the season. So it just, at the end of the season, I gasped again. I swear, like, if you watched other shows and other movie reviews that I've done, you probably have never heard me say I gasped. If I did, it's very, very rare. So this show is like, it just really pulled on my emotions so much. Like, I don't know. I really don't know why. Like, I wasn't like doing this much when I was watching like Ozark or other shows, but this show really does, like, I don't know. It's one of my favorites of all time now. And to think I was never interested in this show, which is really, I feel like I should have watched this before. So season 4 for me is, if James didn't come back at the end of the season, I would probably rate this as like a 7 out of 10 stars. But because James came in, which is going to be a mystery anyway, and what season 5 is going to be, and what's going to happen with Teresa and James, but Pote and Teresa's relationship is just, it's one of those like dream relationships. It really is. If you have like that kind of best friend, it's going to be kind of hard to say that you do, because Pote is willing to take a bullet for her. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fantasy world. You can have best friends all you want, but to me, I would literally grab my best friend away if there's a shooting. Like, I don't see myself as jumping in front of a gunfire, but that's not Pote, So, I completely love this show, and season 4, it's not, it's not my favorite, and, it's still really great, but it's not my favorite out of the 4. And I think it's kind of hard to follow season 3, which is my uttermost favorite so far. I still do give it a 2 thumb up. Overall, the entire series, I would give it a 9 out of 10 stars. I completely love it. And last night I was just rewatching it again. Like, the second time I rewatched the entire series was because of season 3, I only like rewatched the scenes between Teresa and James. And then I rewatched again and just watched the whole thing, and rewatched again and watched the whole thing. It's just, that has been my life for like a week now, and it's getting really ridiculous. Like, I want to watch something else, but this is just like ingrained into my body. I recommend this show very, very much. If you are into, I would say, like an action show, this is something. I like different kinds of shows, to be honest. Like, the only thing that's really kind of hard for me to wrap my head around is a show that is usually like the main focus is drugs. That's why it was hard for me to watch Breaking Bad. But I don't know what it is. I'm more like, I will watch any show. I will watch any movie. Like, I will be open to everything. So as long as it's good, like, I'll watch it. So if you're into action, like crime topic kind of situation, badass situations, explosions, mystery in a sense, a little bit of thrill, this is definitely a show for you. It's a nail biter for sure. It's intense. It's definitely worth the watch. That's for sure. If there are other shows that you guys will recommend, especially from Netflix, let me know down in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys all the time and what you recommend. A lot of people have recommended me in like different movies and different shows, and I have a list. And thank you so much for that. Just to let you know too, I was just going through comments on different videos that I do have recently, and I've noticed that there are some of them that do not pop up right away. Sometimes it's like a few months. So I do apologize for that, but that is not from my doing. Like, if I don't get to see it when I check on the comments, I can't really respond to that. You know what I mean? If YouTube prevents me from seeing them and making me aware that they are there, I won't be able to get that. But as soon as I do have them, I always respond to everybody. So try to be very patient with me. And there have been people that had just shot me an email or direct messages because they wanted it to be a little bit more discreet. That's cool too. But recommending a show and things like that, just please do, because I do want to be able to separate myself from Queen of the South. And there's a lot of rumors going on, due to the lockdowns and the COVID and situations like that, that there might not be a season 5 for another year or two. And that would really, really suck. I was expecting season 5 this year, and whatever. So please do have some suggestions, like movies. I would really prefer a TV show. I would really prefer a series and like multiple seasons. I would really like that, because I feel like I'm more into like a series kind of person. Like, I never want it to end, especially when it's really, really good. So do that down below in the comment section. Anything else that I might have forgotten, something, you just want to shoot out a question, feel free to do that in the comment section. All my social media accounts are in the description section, so do expand that. I'm just letting you know who these guys, because I get questions time and time again, very similar questions. Where can I find this? What's going, and everything is being answered already, not just from the video, but also from my video, but also in the description section. So I would really, really appreciate if you guys check that out first before shooting out the questions, which I do appreciate. But if you can already find that, because I do, I put some time and effort in there, so it would be easier for you guys. But if you also want to talk about this particular show, if you are a fan of the show already before I ever was, I want to know if you are team Weddle or team James. I have asked this in my Netflix groups and even in my personal wall, like, are you team James or team Weddle? But when I first asked that though, I was like the first episode of season 2. So I didn't see the rest of season 2, and I didn't see season 3 yet, and season 4. But it's just, initially I was really team Weddle, but also I was also kind of back and forth, but 80% Weddle, and now I'm definitely team James. But then season 3 happens, and Weddle died on his sword, and it's kind of hard to just stick to team James because of that. But I don't know. I really don't know. I love them both. Maybe James a little bit, but after Weddle passed, maybe Weddle. It doesn't matter. I go back and forth. I love both of the men, to the current state of what happened. But I think because they're very different, and their relationship with Teresa is very different. But I think just a little bit smidge is team James. Also, shout out to Pote and King George. I love those characters. Love. I think Pote is Pote is just in my heart. Okay, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Again, any questions, anything, comment section. Thanks, guys.